Do you want to know the simple trick that will change your life forever? Welcome to Clickbait and how to use it. What's going to change your life forever? Learning how to persuade and influence. You could probably fill in a lot of the blanks there, but we are suckers for clickbait. What's the answer? What's solution? You know, there's one thing you're doing every day that if you eliminate that, you're going to lose 10 pounds in 3 hours. Of course, that's not true, but if you believed it, you'd click on it. You want to know the answer. So what is that power of clickbait? Why does it create so much FOMO and urgency in our brain to click on the button, to open the email, to say yes to your persuasive presentation? So let's learn how to clickbait our way to influence. Let's do it.
Maximize your influence. Kurt Mortensen is the author of Persuasion IQ, Laws of Charisma, and the best-selling book, Maximum Influence.
Hello and welcome back to podcast 558. Kurt Mortensen here. So glad you're here. Love your comments, your support, your feedback, your love. Anything you want to tell me, send it to me at Kurt, K-U-R-T, at MaximizeYourInfluence.com. This is the place to fine-tune those persuasion skills, get more influence skills, become better negotiators, and of course our goal is always to learn how to persuade with power. Hope you're having an awesome week. Things are starting to click for you. You're hyper-focused on your goals. You're thinking about your future success. Because if you're not thinking about it, if you're not visualizing it, if you're not moving towards it, it's not going to happen. And I want it to happen for you. So we're going to dive into this clickbait thing. But before we do, let's get into our persuasion ninja. So I was coaching somebody and they had this big meeting coming up. They wanted to connect. They wanted to influence. They wanted to close the deal. This was really important, really big, kind of a must-happen situation. I said, all right, let's prepare the presentation. Let's do the 5 steps, incorporate this, do this. Let's work on your close, your offer. Let's make sure everything is set, build your trust. But let's talk about the connectivity. What type of personality does she have? Well, I'm not sure. Well, let's look at the emails. Oh, she's a connector. She likes to talk. These are longer-winded emails. I said, what does it say in her social media? He's like, well, I haven't gone there. I don't want to stalk them. I'm like, you kidding me? Everybody stalks each other. That's how it works. It's okay. College students are starting to learn that every HR department's looking at their social media. That's where you find out about people. It's okay. It's not stalking. It's not creepy. I mean, there's a creepy side to it, but you're just learning about them. What are they posting? What do they like? Where'd they go to school? What do you have in common? LinkedIn, who do you know that they know? When you could drop a name of their best friend they know for 20 years that you also know, went to the same university, both like to hike, like to bike, like the beach, both have been to Jamaica, France, whatever it is, those are connection issues. The most important thing that sparks a relationship is similarity. You have to find something in common to continue with the relationship. Smokers hang out with other smokers. Religious people hang out with other religious people. That's how it is. Now, 2 rules to similarity. Has to be something relevant. Really? You're a Gemini? I'm a Gemini too? Well, great, you found out their birthday, but if they're not into astrology, they don't care, that will hurt. And something positive. Really, I had a death in my family too. Let's not bring up the negative past. Or something like, really, you're a convicted felon too, so am I? Those are things you should not bring up. Relevant and positive. Now, this person was from the South. If you know anything about the South, every exit on the freeway is a Waffle House. A very inexpensive, I think, awesome breakfast place. Now, they serve other things. They serve burgers, but that's where you go in the morning to get your breakfast sandwich or your eggs or your coffee. That's the place. And she had posted something about that. He brought it up. Instant connection. They both love Waffle House. Such a simple thing. That's so much better than saying, how's the weather out there? Because that could go the opposite direction. The Waffle House, of all things, connected these people. Hey, when you talk to me, bring up Waffle House. I do like Waffle House. There's no really logical reason for it, except I guess it's great food, a lot of fun culture in the South. You go to Waffle House. In fact, I know a lot of people, before every meeting, they go to social media, you find one thing, where you've been, what you're doing, who you know. Takes minutes. The impact will change your relationship and change your ability to persuade and influence. In fact, with the new AI bots, it's kind of scary. We've talked about this a little bit before, to where when you call up a company, you're there for the first time. We know what that is. That's all your information, from do you own a house, do you rent, how much do you owe on your house, your favorite music, which way you lean politically, which they know pretty much from your postings on social media. Even if you don't come out and say it, they know pretty much which way you lean, what the weather is in your city. Are you married? Do you have children? Should be a little shocking to you, but that information's out there. You've given it out. People have sold it. How do you think Google makes money? How do you think Facebook makes money? How do you think Instagram makes money? So maybe careful what you post, but it's out there for other people. You can find out about them before you talk to them. When you trigger that similarity, it's called similarity theory, it opens the door for you building a lasting relationship. Doesn't guarantee it. Especially if you're the type of person, really, I'm from here and I know this person, and it just seems fake. So we see this at car dealerships. Oh yeah, I'm from there. I know this person. I know this. You're like, wait a minute. So make sure it's true, relevant, and positive. So there you have it, Ninja of the Day. Then next on the list is our geeky Scarly article. This comes from psychologytoday.com, Dr. Kruger, and the American Journal of Psychology. They say the benefits of overconfidence have been exaggerated. Let's see. Should we fake it till we make it? What happens here? There's some pros and cons. Let's talk about this article. So the article basically challenges the common belief that overconfidence leads to better outcomes. Now, they did find that overconfidence might motivate people to exert more effort, but it doesn't always bring improved results. So the perceived benefits of overconfidence have been overstated due to survivor bias. Now, first of all, overconfidence can be a good thing. It drives effort, because when someone believes strongly in their abilities, it increases their effort, it increases their motivation. Someone starting a business is going to work their tail off, fueled by the belief that success is going to happen. It's certain it's going to happen to them. But with that effort doesn't guarantee success, especially if it's an unrealistic assessment. You're not looking at all the clues. And I mentioned survivor bias, and what happens with that is that skews perception. We only notice those in business that were successful. We ignore the 90+% that might fail. We just focus on the successful people. That's a survivor bias. So survivor bias is a logical error that happens when we focus only on people or things that survived the process, and we ignore all those who didn't because they're not as visible. So we only look at the successful outcomes and ignore all the failures along the way. For example, we're talking about entrepreneurs. We look at Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, these billionaires. They did it. They focused on it. They made it happen. But what about the thousands that failed? We just don't hear about them and or don't want to think about them. Another interesting example was World War II. The engineers were studying returning planes to see where they were most damaged, and they wanted to add armor to those spots. And then the statistician said, wait, you should armor the spots that aren't damaged because those planes didn't make it back. Interesting. So why does it matter? Survivor bias distorts reality. We overestimate success rate. Failure happens to them, success happens to us. And we make poor decisions based on incomplete data. Because we all know we could learn more from failures than successes, whether it be our own life or other people's life. We want to study successful people, but we also want to look at the failures along the way. So the article states that illusions often don't provide real benefits. So bottom line, while overconfidence can lead to increased effort and motivation, it doesn't always improve outcomes. Get an accurate self-assessment of yourself, and that can lead to better decision-making and results. And that's the geeky, scholarly article, which takes us to a listener email.
Oh, boy!
And as you know, if I use anything on the podcast, you get the gold version of InfluenceUniversity.com. Check it out. We're also offering a 90% discount and a lifetime membership, a double whammy, full access to the programs, to my books, to my trainings, to my seminars, to the library, and if you're feeling it, the intense 52-week program where every week you access another training to learn all the persuasion tools. There's over 100 persuasion tools, and statistics tell me you're only using 3 or 4. Well, not you, but other people, because you're here on the podcast. So this email comes from South Africa, Molly. She said, I was on Facebook. I saw this headline, or may I say clickbait. I had to know the answer. And it was stupid, but they got my click, they got my eyes, they got my time. How can I use clickbait, these techniques, to help me with my persuasion and influence? P.S. I'm going through the perfect persuasive presentation, and I'm closing with charisma. Love to hear it. All right, what is clickbait? It's the type of content. It's usually a headline, a thumbnail, a social media post, and it could be your subject line in your email. It's designed to grab your attention and entice people to click on it. And a lot of times it's sensational. It could be misleading. It could be exaggerating. I don't want you to do that. But the goal here is to spark curiosity, excitement, or even outrage to get you to click on it. Now, why does it work? It grabs your attention. Usually it's an emotional trigger, fear, surprise, humor, anger. You won't believe what happened next. Doctors hate him for saying the one simple trick. Those type of things grab attention. One secret, one thing, 5 minutes of your time. Our brain loves that because we want a quick solution. And it creates this curiosity gap. So it leaves out enough details so you have to know. It's unfinished. It's not complete. So instead of saying, the cat was rescued from the tree, boring, clickbait might be, firefighters were shocked by what they found in the tree. And you're like, I've got to know, what did they find in the tree? And you've probably noticed this if you're a binge watcher for any of these shows online, where you're just going to watch one episode, but then something happens, you got to watch the next. At the very end, something happens. You got to know the solution, so you go to the next one, and you end up binge watching the whole show in a weekend because of clickbait. So clickbait also exploits the FOMO, that fear of missing out. Urgent, it's exclusive info, it's a secret. We love secrets. What is the secret? Don't miss this. And you probably realize if you're on social media that they need your clicks. That's how they get paid. Anything they could do to get paid. And they know emotional content gets spread faster. If they can get you angry, upset, emotional, these headlines can go viral. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of them. And that makes them more money. Gets people talking about it and makes the advertiser happy, which means more income. So is clickbait bad? Not always. There's the fun tease. You're not upset for clicking it. But then there is the deceptive clickbait, which promotes one thing and you get another. Or sometimes it's something completely different. They just wanted your click. Because humans are naturally curious. And we need to know. So how do we use this in persuasion, influence, sales, whatever your world is? It can be highly effective, and you can use it ethically. Your goal is to grab their attention, to drive their curiosity. They want to know, and still deliver real value. Whatever you promise in that clickbait, you need to deliver in the email, on the website, in the letter, in your presentation, whatever it is, you have to deliver. So when people click it, read it, watch it, you have over-delivered on that promise. So I'd start with curiosity-driven headlines, clickbait, subject lines, title to your presentation, so people wonder what they're missing if they don't click on it and learn more. You've got to have a pretty powerful whiff. What's in it for them? What's in it for the team? What's in it for the company? They need to learn it. This is solving one of their problems. This $20 investment could change how you handle money forever. Wow, it's inexpensive. It's going to change how I handle money. We all like money, and that leads to a downloadable course. You could also leverage that surprise, that shock. Grab their attention with something unexpected or counterintuitive. Why you should be eating more bacon. Why you should be using more salt. Why you should stop saving money. So it works because it challenges a common belief, and people want to know, wait a minute, why? Or the common desire to eat more bacon or use more salt. Another thing you do is promise a quick return, a quick win, an easy solution. Remember, people love shortcuts, easy things that aren't overwhelming or take a lot of time. One simple thing I did that paid off my credit card in 60 days. It works because it's relatable, believable, and it's an easy win. Again, you have to have a solution there that doesn't stretch it and make people go, yeah, right. And remember, people love those secrets or insider tips. When they feel like they've learned that secret, something exclusive, something that most people don't know, they want to know. Most millionaires use this trick, and it's not what you think. I saw this one the other day. Some people think they should be exercising every day. That's the worst thing you can do to lose weight. What a great clickbait. Also, clickbait works really well when there's numbers. 5 simple things that you can do to save thousands every year. Numbers build trust. Odd numbers build the biggest trust. When you say 70%, like, okay, no, 67.32%. Odd numbers always outpull even numbers, and ending in 7 tends to pull the best. But stay ethical, tell the truth, make sure you're fulfilling what they say, deliver what you promise. And don't just grab their attention. Have a clear call to action, what you need them to do, what you need them to read, what you need them to watch. And always test, refine. Even if you just use it in your subject line in your emails or that first sentence in your text, those are things that can be powerful to get them to read the whole thing. One of my favorite tools, the Zeigarnik Effect. It's a powerful psychological principle that you can use in sales, marketing, persuasion, and clickbait. I discovered this researching maximum influence. I mean, what really grabs people's attention? Because the law of involvement states if they're not listening, if they don't care, you can't persuade them. You have to grab and keep their attention. So bottom line is people remember incomplete tasks better than completed tasks. In other words, unfinished things linger in our minds. It creates a sense of mental tension or curiosity that drives us to seek closure. That's the clickbait we're talking about. What's the answer? What's the solution? What's the secret? That is the Zeigarnik Effect. In fact, it was coined by a Russian psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik. She was at a cafe and was amazed that the waiters and waitresses didn't have any pad or paper. They'd come up, take the order, deliver it, 100% correct. But once it was finished, crossed off the list, and she asked them, well, what did I order? They couldn't remember. They remembered the order that was unfinished, the bill that was not given, but once that was crossed off their mental list, they couldn't remember what they ordered. It was crossed off their mental list. So this Zeigarnik Effect does grab attention. It drives curiosity, increases engagement, and it boosts conversions. How can you use it? For example, on a voicemail. Don't say, hey, here are the 3 things that you asked me to do. I did this and this. Here are the 3 things you need to know. Well, that's good. If you want to call back, it's better like, hey, the 3 things we talked about. Wow, I found some startling information. The one thing's pretty shocking. Give me a call and I'll tell you the 3 things we need to do to solve this right now. Doesn't guarantee they're going to call you back, but it does increase the chances. Or in a presentation, start with the story, but don't finish it. Just start it. You could start the story off about someone that was drowning in debt. Things were happening, about to lose the house, but today she's financially free. Let's talk about what happened and then go to a little instruction. People want to know the end of the story. They will pay more attention to figure out how does the story end, because the human brain needs an end to the story. Amazon does this all the time. Hey, you left something in your cart. They remind you, it's in the cart, it's unfinished, they want you to buy it. That is using the Zeigarnik Effect. Another one I found very powerful is using quizzes or assessments. In fact, go to maximizeyourinfluence.com and take your free persuasion IQ assessment. See where you rank. I've got an assessment for charisma. I've got an assessment for your presentation skills. People want to know where they rank. For example, take this 2-minute quiz to discover your personality type. Find out where you rank in your persuasion skills. See if you got the riz, the charisma, and what you could do to increase your influence would be a way to use that quiz, that assessment. Again, it works. When people start a quiz or assessment, they want to complete it, number 1. And number 2, they want to know the results, where they rank, what they do well, and what they can improve on. So use the Zeigarnik Effect. Have a clear call to action. Again, make sure you're fulfilling your promises. Better yet, exceed your promises, exceed their expectations, and you'll create a powerful pull that brings people into your funnel and makes them easier to persuade, motivate, and influence. So there you have it. That's our podcast for the day. This is podcast 558. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and better podcast aggregators near you. Hit like, hit subscribe, give us some feedback, tell your family, friends, and enemies about it. Make sure you subscribe for our newsletter at MaximizeYourInfluence.com to get all the updates on the podcast, to get the freebies, and to get your weekly specials. Master the clickbait, master that suspense, that curiosity, that intrigue. Become more influential, and as you know, go out and persuade with power.